Thank you for listening to the Pull It Back podcast. Now here are your hosts, Mike and Andy.
Hello and welcome back to the Pull It Back podcast. I am Mike, and of course we're here with Andy.
Hello.
And I guess apparently Andy found a bunch of stuff with this new vape ban crap that's going on. I guess, what was it, Michigan? Was it Michigan? Yeah, Michigan, New York.
Michigan.
And
yep.
A couple other states actually like completely banned flavors. And I think the city of San Francisco banned vaping altogether.
Altogether. Yeah. I think the one in New York, I think it might have been overturned for now.
Mm-hmm.
I think I read that. Yeah, there's 4 states that had some sort of ban on flavors or vaping altogether: California, Illinois, Michigan, and New York. Now, strap in, kids, because I've got some serious shit. I went down a ridiculous rabbit hole with this stuff because I am sick and tired. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sick and tired of, congressmen and our political system shitting on small businesses and our rights. And this is honestly a drop in the bucket compared to some of the other stuff they've taken away. And I will get into that because I also have a story about that too.
All right.
But like I said, I've just been going fucking crazy with this process and how the government just gets away with basically taking away our rights. So the first thing that I wanted to look at is the money, because of course these big brands need money. So according to an article that came out in May, sales for Altria and British American Tobacco shares have fallen. This is back in May, so they've consistently fallen for the last 18 months and have declined 6.9%.
Mm-hmm.
And British American Tobacco trade in the U.S. fell 4%. So somewhere around 10 to 11%, and I'm sure it's gone up. Tobacco sales have fallen, and guess what? Now we have a vaping ban in 4 cities. 4 major cities in the U.S. There's either a ban on flavors or a ban altogether. Now that article was from CNBC, so I'm just looking at it.
Generally reputable, I guess.
Generally reputable, I guess. Yeah, that's a pretty cool way to put it. Now, the thing that was most disturbing when I started looking at the money was this thing called the Master Settlement Agreement. I'm sure people who are on the up and up about the vape ban know what this is. It's basically an agreement that tobacco companies and the states came to and made it illegal to basically advertise on TV, show people smoking in magazines.
Yeah.
And basically so it doesn't show, get kids hooked, quote unquote.
Mm-hmm.
And states are given millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars every year to go towards, let's see, it's supposed to go towards...
I think it's education and stuff, isn't
it? Yeah. Hold on.
At least that's what I was told a while ago. It was saying like for every pack of cigarettes that you bought, $1 of the tax or whatever went towards local education.
Oh, no. It's to prevent kids from smoking.
What?
The program is designed, the Master Settlement Agreement is money so the states can allocate towards anti-smoking programs.
Mm-hmm.
Guess how much goes to those programs?
What?
3%.
So 3% of everything made.
3% of these hundreds of millions of dollars that tobacco companies give to the states every year, 3% of that goes to actual prevention of smoking in kids.
Well, yeah. Why would you? That's like being in a car dealership and it's like, yeah, we're 3% of all the profit we make off of these cars is going towards public transportation.
No, and this is that's what's disturbing is the master settlement agreement is specifically for, according to this, and this is a law document, Public Health Law Center.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I got this article or the explanation of the master settlement agreement. Okay, so basically it's set up so states can fund anti-smoking prevention. And they only use 3% of it for the programs. And no state currently funds tobacco prevention at the level recommended by the CDC. So now, all of a sudden, we're hammering on vape. So one, we got stocks are sliding. States are missing out on more money.
Of course.
Because stocks are sliding. And now we're looking at vape because guess why? Vape has cut into big tobacco's money.
Yeah, I mean, so this is a capitalism basically fighting against the big tobacco company because it was a better idea. They sold a lot of it, and then tobacco was slipping. And I don't think vape companies give quite as much to the government as big tobacco did.
I don't believe that they give any because they don't fall under that category.
Yeah,
or maybe they do. I don't know. I didn't really look into that, but I know that
what's
the big
the
tobacco
acronym
does.
For like it's like the Federal Bureau of shit. What the hell is it? What is it? Alcohol, drugs, and tobacco, or something like that.
Oh, the ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Well, now they're talking about adding vape to that acronym.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And marijuana, by the way, but that's a different story.
Anyway. So, okay, now check this out. Of those, there's basically the top 7 states. They get a ridiculous sum of money. California gets about $876 million.
What, every
Illinois
year?
Gets every year $307 million. Michigan gets $300. New York gets $650. Pennsylvania, for some reason, gets $806. Texas gets $448, and Florida gets $339. Of the top 7, 4 states have some sort of vaping ban. Guess which ones they are?
The highest paid ones.
California, Illinois, Michigan, and New York.
So basically, the tobacco company is paying these states the most, and those are the states that ended up banning vape.
The out of the top 7, Pennsylvania and California are the highest paid by far, but the top 1, California, is currently involved in the vape ban, an all-out vape ban.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is just too much of a coincidence. It's disgusting.
It is.
It's blatant, and people can't see it. Are really, really selling themselves short, not being informed. Now, for me to sit here and take up arms, so to say, against this is ridiculous because there's way bigger issues going on right now.
Yeah, for sure.
But it's the principle of the thing.
Yeah, this is the first step into basically stripping away all of your rights and your freedom of choice.
Exactly.
So and it's kind of like the same thing when people say when they say, oh, well, the government's spying on you with your laptops and your phones and stuff. Well, it's like, it's all right. I'm not doing anything wrong. It's like, that's not the point.
Right.
The point is, what the hell, if you're not doing anything wrong, they shouldn't be watching you.
And the thing that's craziest to me is, and I'm just blown away, is, the Royal College of Professors in the UK say vaping is, once again, it's 95% safer. There's no illness going on in the UK or Europe that we know about.
And they're not, because they probably don't get very much money from the tobacco company. Because the tobacco industry...
They regulate it differently.
Well, yeah, and the tobacco industry here in the United States is deeply embedded into politicians because, think about North Carolina, South Carolina, where all the big tobacco fields started, early 1800s, early 1900s, and
Oh,
they
dude.
paid a lot to fund politicians and everything. It basically founded America in a way, or at least the one we know today. And tobacco companies essentially started the lobbying thing.
Well, I didn't know that. But get this. You remember we were talking about how Altria, the people who make Juul,
Yeah. Philip Morris.
Of course, they're big tobacco now. They got rid of their CEO and replaced him with a big tobacco exec, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, get this. I was reading a Washington Post article, and it said that this person, the CEO in Altria now, has strong ties to Mike Pence. And as you know, the Trump administration has been seeking a ban on vaping.
Yeah, because they're paid off to do that.
And it's ridiculous.
It is,
the
man.
The person at the forefront of this epidemic, quote unquote, and they're always blaming it on, well, we gotta make it safer for the kids.
Yeah. Is
Melania Trump, or what is her name?
Yeah, Melania.
Trump. Yeah, you're probably the dumbest human in history. She's a beautiful woman, and I mean that's what she's known for, is being Trump's wife.
Yeah.
And every president's first lady has always had some sort of program that they want to introduce.
Yeah.
I mean, who was it? Nancy Reagan,
mm-hmm.
or
DARE program or something?
Was it Nancy Reagan, or who was it?
I think it was Nancy.
They introduced the war on drugs.
Yeah, it was the DARE program.
The war on drugs. She was like, I want a full-on war on drugs.
Mm-hmm.
And she's cost us billions and billions of dollars, put a lot of people in jail for no reason, and
free labor.
Look where we're at now.
Exactly, man. And that was one of the things that just disturbs me every time I go to read this kind of crap, is because it's all these big tobacco companies are giving all this money to these politicians, and people are just like, no, it's about the kids. Like, bullshit, man. It's about the almighty dollar. It has nothing to do with kids. Politicians couldn't give a fuck about your kids.
Yeah.
Nor do they give a fuck about you. They just want your vote. That's all that matters to them. Your vote and your money. That's it. That is all they give a shit about. And if you think otherwise, you're wrong.
I couldn't agree more. And like I said, this is a small underlying issue. I enjoy vaping. I really do.
I do. Matter of fact, you know what?
And it's just
I just did that.
obvious.
It didn't blow up on my face. I don't have immediate cancer. I don't have autism. I mean, I might, but I don't have
debatable.
it. And I rip on this thing all day long. I'm telling you, man, because I'm sure you understand too. We smoked for a while. You and me both. We smoked for quite a few years.
A long time.
And I'd wake up in the morning and just be, get that mucusy cough
shit.
And just feel like shit. You take a flight of stairs and you're winded when you get to the top of it, man. And I knew there was a difference, because I was like, I need to just find a different alternative. I've tried quitting. I quit for like 9 months, and then went to a like this banquet or whatever the hell it was, and everybody there was like smoking, and I missed stepping outside and just having a smoke. So I was like, well, I still want to do that. I still want to have that moment with social smoking, I guess, so to speak. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to get a vape thing. So I just started vaping on it, and then, dude, I feel millions of times better. I'm not hacking every morning. I'm not super winded when I go up a flight of stairs. I mean, it is just better. And I definitely would not have stopped smoking if not for the flavor. Because I found a good flavor, and that's what kept me going, is sticking with it at least, because I tried the ones that didn't have very flavor. I tried the one that was like coffee flavor, but it just wasn't enough. It wasn't tasty. It tasted just like vapor, and it was kind of gross. And I'm not saying cigarettes aren't gross. They are, but they're highly addictive. There's just a lot of things to it, and it's not just the act of smoking. It's the habit of walking outside, lighting it. It's just, there's so much about it, especially nicotine being one of the most addictive chemicals on the planet.
Right.
But I mean,
Right.
that's regardless. And when people are like, "Oh, you need to keep the flavors are attracting kids," it's like, yeah, but there's laws in place to keep people from under the age of 18 from smoking this, or from vaping. Same with cigarettes.
Well,
Same
well,
with
now
dip.
I've seen all these news stories of, a teen gets sent into, just as an experience, and how easy it is to get vaping products. Well, there's some owners of vape shops out there that are probably not really attentive to who they're selling it to, and that does need to change.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, if anything there may be something good that comes from this. Maybe there'll be more strict guidelines on, the process of identification. I would be perfectly fine. And everybody else should be too. I don't care if you're 75 years old and you walk into a vape shop, you should have to show your ID.
Yeah.
Period. Because if you want to be a dick about it, then you're part of the problem.
Yeah, because I mean, I'd rather have to show your ID every time you go to buy something than it just be gone.
Then have your rights taken away in such an egregious manner.
Yeah.
And this, God only knows what else this pertains to. Because I'm quite sure, there's been many other, times where it's like the government does some shit like this, where it's so blatantly obvious that there's a large amounts of money involved.
Oh, yeah.
And
There's
they just
something
want to do
afoot.
away with it until the person that needs to be making the most money is satisfied.
Yeah.
In this case, it's big tobacco.
Yeah, I mean, think about it, man. And I don't want to tie this down because I know it's on both sides. But when it comes to, and this is just my opinion from what I've observed, when it comes to oil and tobacco, Republicans are on their side. Always have been, and I'm sure always will be. When it comes to other things like pharmaceutical companies and telecom companies, usually the Democrats are on their side and lets them get away with shit too. So I mean, like, they each have their own little niche that they want to back up and support because those companies back up and support them. And
Right.
You got to think like, oh yeah, we know about Philip Morris. We know about there's also larger companies that people don't know about that give them even more money, and it's just like there's no way to know. Just like a perfect example of what I'm talking about is like prescription glasses and sunglasses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Picture any brand of sunglass that you or prescription glasses, the frames. What is it? Nautica, Ray-Ban. I mean, any one of them. Like, you go into a store, you pick any one of those brands. You're like, man, look at all the choices I have. It's not really a choice. Every single one of them are owned by the same company. Same thing goes with the stores they're being sold out of, like Lens Crafters, Sunglass Hut, anything. They're all sold by the same company called Luxottica. And Luxottica owns Lens Crafters. They own all the brands of lenses. They own all of the sunglasses. There was only, and the reason why I know this because there was a story where Oakley did not want to fall under that umbrella of Luxottica, and they were like, no, we're not going to raise our prices or whatever the hell they were trying to do. And so Luxottica was like, all right, well, we'll just not sell your shit in our stores. And of course, Oakley's stock tanked because they couldn't sell them anywhere because they own all of these glasses and sunglass places. That's why you always saw Oakley's like in clothing stores and shit.
Yeah.
Like, what was it, Lucky, or I don't know who sells Lucky brand jeans.
Oh, I don't know.
Or is it the belt buckle or whatever? And so you found them in there, but they didn't sell very well. So what happened was this stocks tanked. Luxottica ended up coming in and buying Oakley anyway.
Jesus.
Yeah. So almost every brand, every store that you buy glasses from is all owned by Luxottica, and there's a lot of similarities between that and tobacco companies. Because I mean, I know they're all in these little Bilderberg meetings, talking in this round table with like dim lighting.
Jesus.
I just
Well, I mean, just like even like the jewelry industry, I had no idea the company Signet owns pretty much every single jewelry outfit out there.
Yeah, besides Hellsberg and I think Gordon's. If Gordon's is even still around, I don't even know.
I don't know either, but I know they own like K Jewelers, Shane Company, Jared's,
Zales now.
Zales, you name it. They own almost every single jewelry company out there.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But
there's laws against monopolies, yet
because they're, and the thing is it's called not an oligopoly. That's something to do with like cable companies. They do shit like that, where it's like a regional monopoly. But they have like these closed door meetings where like we won't raise prices.
Oh yeah,
like
no.
That's
exactly.
True.
I know
true.
exactly. Like, Xfinity, they'll say, okay, Time Warner or Charter or whatever it's called now. Basically, Xfinity and Comcast, they'll be like, okay, we're going to service this area, and you can't. There's no way you can get service over here because we're going to service it. Fine, we'll take this area. Perfect. They shake hands on it. And guess what? Either you get in where you're at, if you are serviced by Xfinity, that's the only fucking choice you have.
Yep.
Because let's face it, Dish and DirecTV fucking suck.
They do. DirecTV sucks now ever since AT&T bought them.
Well, there you go. And,
exactly.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and then when you have issues with your cable, it's like, well... It's perfect example is, the South Park episode where they're just like, just rubbing their nipples. Yeah. Like they have the nipple flaps. And just like staring at you, stone-faced.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a perfect example because, I mean, it's the same situation with tobacco to kind of bring it back around. There's a lot of hidden shit that people, one, don't want to know about because it's just... They like living in their little bubble of look at all the choices that I have. But it's like, dude, I mean, the entire country is ran off of like 8 companies. You know what I mean? They're just big, huge umbrella companies that nobody knows about. Like, what was that one? I think there was a few episodes ago we had a game. I was saying who owns,
Oh, yeah, like who actually owns it.
Yeah, who owns what?
There's like a total of 10 fucking companies, and it just gives we're a employee-owned company. No, you're not.
No, you're not. Like Johnson & Johnson owns, Johnson & Johnson owns every fucking thing.
A lot.
Not just cleaning supplies and baby wipes and baby stuff, and they also own a large portion of pharmaceuticals as well.
Yeah.
It's
well,
just
now
these
they're getting
giant umbrella companies. Are they really, though?
But anyway, yeah, I don't know. That's what it says.
They just sit back and they're like, "We're going to pay off politicians, so you guys win the next election. You help me out."
Yeah, we'll submit. So we'll play along, and you can sue us, and we'll give you a couple $2 billion. But at the end of the day, we're just going to continue selling drugs.
Yeah, it's like I'll give you a couple $2 billion. You'll sue us to make the population think like they won one over on us. And then we'll just continue to loosen our fucking regulations so we can continue selling
and then,
lead-infused pills to people
and
with
then
Parkinson's.
They'll be like, well, how about we pay you several $1 billion and then you focus over here on vaping. That's a good one.
Because the tobacco company was like, we got to pivot somehow. If we don't, we're going to go under. So they're just like, we got to get this vaping bullshit banned because we want to still sell dip. We still want to sell chew. We still want to sell cigarettes and cigars and shit like that. It's like that our heyday is going away, and we got to cling on to it for dear life. And the only way to do that is to get rid of this fucking vaping industry, or at least knock them down a few pegs so we can actually buy up some of these businesses.
Well, and the crazy fucking thing about it is, like here in Kentucky, for example, one of the biggest cash crops was tobacco. But the government swooped in and said, no, we're going to give it to North Carolina. And that made a lot of farmers really upset. Of course.
Yeah,
why wouldn't
that's your livelihood.
You're taking away their livelihood. But now that they passed the industrial hemp bill, they can get some of their money back. And God only knows what's going to happen when, CBD starts really, really taking off.
Which, I mean, it is very quickly.
It is already starting to take off. There's money to be made in this market. And who knows? Maybe it'll take the place of tobacco. I really hope it does.
Yeah, because it's better.
But you got to believe that with stuff like this goes on, tobacco's going to be like, hey, we need to get our hands in the cookie jar here So let's make up some shit. Let's get a little a 17-year-old representative that will show some pictures of her in a hospital bed, and she'll say, I want to start a anti-vaping campaign.
Yeah.
It'll be the similar situation.
Well, did you ever see that video where the guy, did you send that to me, where the guy busted him out?
Yeah.
It was like a guy that, like, it was something happened where he had like something with his lungs, right? I forgot exactly what happened to him.
It was one of the lung disease cases, and it was in Texas.
Yeah.
And the guy was actually interviewed in the hospital
while high on drugs.
The local news. Well, I don't know if he was high, but
that's what he was saying. They had him all loaded up with fucking pain medication and whatnot.
Yeah, well, they did. Yeah, he was on pain medication, and then they kind of manipulated him. But the thing is, he went on the news and said, yeah, I knew there was something wrong. It was because of vaping. And they cut him off right there.
Yeah, it was because of vaping THC.
Yes. Cartridges that
he bought it underground.
Laced with, yeah, right, because he's in an illegal state, and it was laced with vitamin E acetate.
Yeah.
And I saw numbers today. It was like something like 85 to 90% of the lung diseases were related to that cause.
Yeah, the vitamin E
directly.
acetate and
and black market THC cartridges.
And I think this is I think you told me this. I can't quite remember, but I know I heard saying the reason why these underground THC cartridges are becoming, loaded with vitamin E acetate and something else is because it's a thickening agent, and so people think it's more concentrated when it's thick. So they're willing to pay more money for it, but it's not. There's no difference. It's the same amount of THC oil in it. It's just...
Well, half the time, there's not even that much THC oil in it.
Yeah.
It's just they're selling it in illegal states, so they're just like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I'm only getting this cartridge for like $30 or $40 when, most people have to spend $60 to $70, depending on which state you're in, I guess, for legal cartridges at a dispensary. So, pro tip.
Well, even dispensaries, some of their cartridges were
that's what they said,
caught.
But it's much less likely to get a fake cartridge at a dispensary.
Yeah, for sure. Because a lot of people are just like
they scrutinize it big time at dispensaries because they're under such a fine microscope as it is. But no, there was some cases where there was some counterfeit cartridges and they caught it. But some guy just recently got caught. I think it was in somewhere in the Midwest, making thousands of fake THC cartridges, and he had legitimate packaging, from legitimate companies that actually make the healthy I don't know if it's healthy because it's anyway, I'm not going to say it's healthy because it's such a new way to consume marijuana that we really don't know yet.
Yeah.
So
it's an extremely easy and effective way to get THC, but because we don't know anything about it yet, but we do know about vaping because it's been around for 30 years.
Well, in the limelight, it's been around for 10 years.
In the limelight, yes, but it's been around for a long time, and it's just now recently because it started off in China. But anyways, let's. I wanted to actually just go over the story real fast with you, since we're on this subject. So I came across an article in the Rolling Stone. It says the title of it. This is from October 11th. There's not just one vaping crisis. There's three. Okay. We know almost nothing about why 23 people have died, but experts say we need to find solutions to more than just one problem. So 23 people have died. That's a staggering amount for a thing that's a crisis, right?
Right.
It's like, dude, 23 people die every second in car accidents. It's what the hell are you talking about?
Okay.
23 people. It's ridiculous. But anyways, 23 lives is 23 lives too many. Don't get me wrong. But 23 of them over the past, 3 or 4 years? 5 years, I think, since I've been counting. It's not... people die more on skateboards than they do on that shit. Anyways, getting off...
In the grand scheme of things,
yeah. In the midst of the Centers for Disease Control, CDC, investigation into the vaping-related health crisis, which has claimed 23 lives in the United States, media coverage of the epidemic has been virtually nonstop. Patients in the 24 More than 24 states have been presenting at hospitals throughout the country with symptoms such as coughing, chest pain, shortness of breath, as well as nausea, vomiting, and fever in some cases. So it sounds like the side effects for some of the pharmaceuticals, but I digress. Even 2 months into the nationwide investigation, the cold, hard truth is that we know little more about the culprit than we did when it started. We know almost nothing about this right now. Tells Rolling Stone. From a public health investigation standpoint, part of the issue is purely logistical. It's been so this thing just goes on and on and on about like how terrible it is, nicotine and e-cigarettes, and then deep into the article, they finally start mentioning the THC.
Yeah.
Vaping-related lung injuries and stuff like that. Let's see. The CDC reported that 78% of the 514 cases it has analyzed thus far involved patients using products containing THC. While a separate study reported that 66 of those patients with the THC had specifically used dank vapes, a black market manufacturer of ambiguous origin that purports to contain 90% THC. But it doesn't contain 90% THC. It contains a lot less, but it does have a load of vitamin E acetate because it's thicker.
I'm gonna chime in there for a second. Dank Vapes is actually a legitimate company that does produce the THC cartridges. They're not all counterfeit. That is misinformation right there.
Yeah.
At its best.
Now, Dank Vapes, because I'm sure somebody used labeling from Dank Vapes.
That's exactly
to make
the same labels that's the labels that the kid was using when he was producing the counterfeit cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
He had an operation where he had thousands of Dank Vape cartridges in his house, and he was selling them black market.
Yeah.
So
because he found a name that's legitimate,
exactly.
got labels and packaging to make it look the same, and then sold it as that to make it seem like it's legitimate, even though it's not. So
that's exactly what he did.
I mean, my point was, no matter what they do, people won't stop vaping, man. It's the same situation with texting while driving, like where it's illegal in every single state, but it had no effect on the number of accidents or road deaths.
Well, and the same thing. You're exactly right. How is banning this shit going to affect stopping children from vaping? Every single state gets hundreds of millions of dollars every single fucking year to stop kids from smoking.
Yes.
And their solution is to ban vaping?
Yeah.
Well, what the fuck? What about cigarettes? What about chewing tobacco? What about flavored beer? What about seltzer, hard seltzers?
Yeah,
now?
whipped cream flavored vodka.
Right. So the idea that vape the flavors attract children is absolutely asinine. It's absolutely fucking asinine to think that just because something is Fruity Pebbles flavored, that the kids are going to be like nom 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 nom. And I've said it once before. It's not like kids my daughter's age are going out there and walking into a vape shop. These are kids that are misrepresenting themselves and their age, or getting it from somebody else who has misrepresented their intent to purchase this stuff. Mm-hmm. So, one, you can blame the parents.
Yeah, and dare not blame the kid. He did nothing wrong. We got to blame the industry. We got to blame fucking companies and corporations.
That's what I'm saying. God forbid you blame the parents of these irresponsible children. Just like that girl, the one that's been at the forefront of the vaping illness with the little sign.
Yeah.
It never said that she was smoking THC cartridges constantly.
Yeah, a lot. And then her mother.
A lot of it.
Well, the thing is, I mean, and I think
they never said that. But
I also think
turns out she was.
The media is I think the media is also kind of twisting shit, because I'm pretty
100%.
sure most people that I've met will straight up tell you, yeah, man, if that happened to my kid, I'd ground them or do something like they would punish their kid for doing something bad like that, and try to find out what's at the root of the problem. Why are you having to seek out this THC stuff? And the media is twisting it to say like, oh, we can't blame the kid. We have to blame the corporation because
they're the victim. They're the victim. They're the victim.
Exactly. It's like, save the children. It's not the case.
But the thing is, this girl, she was seen with pictures on her Instagram or whatever the fuck with bags, quote on, inconspicuous bags sticking out of her pants. And, you know, a comment said, well, what is that? And she said, shush, it's a secret. And you know damn well that was pot.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know damn well. You know damn well. So,
which shouldn't be illegal anyway, because if it was legal and regulated by the FDA, we wouldn't have this fucking issue right now.
100%, exactly. This is my point. Banning shit does not work. You take away the rights of discerning individuals and their choice.
That's what freedom is, and I've said that millions of times. Like, that's what freedom is the freedom of choice. Give us the most get us informed to the point where we can make an informed decision to do whatever the hell we want to do.
Yes, by all means, do the research, FDA, CDC. Do the research on these products. Let us know, hey, this product is probably going to hurt you sometime in the future. These are the facts. This is the research. Great. I'm still going to do it because I like it.
Yeah.
I mean, you could say the same fucking thing for a dirt bike. It is probably the worst thing you could do for your health because 100% you're going to get hurt on a fucking dirt bike.
Yes, definitely.
At some point, you are going to get hurt.
If somebody that has rode a dirt bike for over a year,
you've probably
definitely broken bones.
And the thing that cracks me up the most about this shit is they're talking about this, like you said it. It's a crisis. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? A crisis is millions, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people dying every year.
Hurricane Katrina was a crisis.
No, I mean, that's a natural disaster. You can't avoid that. Well, they could have.
Well, I'm saying it's a crisis.
Reinforcing the levee like they were supposed to.
The situation that followed it was a crisis.
Anyway, regardless, what I'm saying is this is not a crisis. This is an issue because people have died. Yes, absolutely do the research. Banning it is not going to help matters, first of all. Secondly, fuck you. That's my secondly. I don't know where I was going with this. But it's just so fucking riled up, man. It's ridiculous.
I know, man.
It's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Well, it's like when they say, well, if we ban this stuff that's dangerous, that's good. But my argument to that would be like, cigarettes are still on the market.
Right, exactly. That was my secondly. Second, cigarettes are still on the market.
Yeah.
That has been proven for decades that it will kill you way quicker than you should be dying. You know what I mean? You're probably gonna get cancer. There's a very, very, very high chance that you will get cancer if you use conventional tobacco products.
Yeah, easily, because it has over 4,000 different chemicals in it. And like 90% of them are carcinogenic.
I mean, even simpler than that. Who gives a fuck about what chemicals, what the science is? People get diagnosed with lung cancer and other cancers directly linked to tobacco every single day in droves. That's not a health crisis?
Yeah, there's more people that die every day from cigarettes than there have been people dying from laced THC cartridges.
Well, even so, more people in the U.S. die from fucking eating Burger King and McDonald's than they do from vaping.
And kids eat that shit.
Yes. What, are you going to ban chicken nuggets?
Don't you fucking ban chicken nuggets now.
Man, Wendy's brought back some
I'm moving to
spicy
Canada.
Nugs. Oof. I've had spicy nugs like twice this week.
I love spicy nuggets. I just can't eat that shit anymore, man. I got a heartburn. I'm getting old.
It's like immediate diarrhea. But anyway, we're getting off in the woods.
Another argument is that if you keep something around that's dangerous, that opens the door to keeping things like heroin legal. And there are many problems with that argument, but I'll keep it civil. So first off, heroin is legal, but only if the pharmaceutical companies give it to you. Also, anything that involves a needle might need to be only administered by a nurse, a doctor or nurse, whatever. And I mean, and it's true, I actually think heroin and whatever should be legal. We wouldn't pay tax money catching and imprisoning people for nonviolent drug offenses and possibly dry up the well for illegal drug cartels by giving the market to the people. And I've fought for that for forever. That's been my strong stance. If you actually wanted to make the country better, you would make it all legal and kill off the pharmaceutical companies. Not kill off the pharmaceutical companies. They're great. I mean, they do help people, but regulate them a little bit more healthier. And they can't because
lobbying is the root of all evil here, man.
It is. Tobacco companies lobby politicians.
Of
pharmaceutical companies lobby politicians and doctors and hospitals and stuff because they give them kickbacks, and that's what started the whole opiate epidemic.
Right, exactly. That it's so weird that this is legal. Because if we went out on the streets, I'm starting a business. My business is I am going to sell OxyContin. Yeah. I'm going to sell it on the streets. I'm actually, you know what? I'm going to set up a brick and mortar, but all I sell is OxyContin.
Mm-hmm.
People come in, you give me $20, and I give you however many pills. And you go on your merry way. You don't need a prescription, nothing.
I think it should be...
now I'm going to prison.
Yeah.
How is it any different?
Yeah, I mean,
if
you're
pharmaceutical, I mean, you got to have a prescription, but
even
that doesn't stop people.
Yeah, a prescription doesn't stop people, and it doesn't stop doctors from overdoing it. Like we had a couple episodes ago, we talked about that Dr. Love was getting sexual favors for prescriptions for opiates, and then was also signing...
Wasn't there the rock doctor, too, who was overprescribing millions of pills?
Of pills. He gave one lady a prescription. She followed her prescription. X amount of pills every 4 hours or whatever the hell it is.
Wasn't it like 900 something pills she was prescribed over the course of a month or two?
Yeah, it was insane. And I think it was because, some of these pharmaceutical companies, and not all, but some of them, give doctors' offices quotas on how many pills they need to prescribe every month.
Oh, I'm 100%. Not 100% sure, but I'm quite sure.
Absolutely positive they do this. But anyways,
and
I think
the doctors get a little kickback too. I mean, it's just like selling a car. If you sell my Ford, I'm going to give you X dollars.
Yeah, Ford.
A little spiff.
Ford calls and says, "You need to sell X amount of vehicles this month." That's your quota, and you get bonuses and shit if you meet that quota. So it's the same thing. I think like OxyContin and the other opiate makers. I forgot who made OxyContin, but anyways,
Purdue Pharma.
Purdue, that's it. So I think Purdue probably had a quota. They said, you need to sell this amount. And he was like, oh, this lady seems pretty healthy. She's in her older age, so I'll go ahead and just overload her with shit so we can meet this quota. And because they don't do digging in to see, oh, well, it was split out between these people. Anyways, so the end of that story was that she was prescribed so much, it killed her. She overdosed on opiates. And then the doctor had the balls to go to the grieving husband's house and say, hey, you need to throw away all those bottles of opiates because I don't want to get in trouble. And that's fucking disgusting. The dude needs to go to jail forever. He needs to be hung at the gallows. But to go back, man, it was having the choice to do things. I mean, we need to be heavily informed about what shit and how it is addictive, how addictive it is, and how it can ruin your life for sure. Like, again, heroin, if you do it, it can fucking ruin your life. But someone's still going to do it anyway. There's still heroin addicts out there. And let them do it, and then let them suffer the consequences of their action. And I know that,
not even, I mean, that I understand where you're coming from. I don't think that's I think your heart's in the right place, but I don't think that's the right way to say it.
What, heroin?
What we need to focus on, since we get hundreds of millions of dollars from tobacco industry and the like, why don't we fucking use some of this money instead of squandering it for bullshit? Why don't we focus on treatment for these people?
Yeah.
Because clearly they're mentally, they say alcoholism is an illness.
Mm-hmm.
Why is heroin addiction any different? You don't throw somebody in prison for being addicted to beer.
Yeah.
Unless you get a DUI or something.
Even then you don't get thrown in prison unless you did something real bad.
Well, right. I mean, it makes no fucking sense to me that you can be completely dependent on alcohol to get through your day, but heroin, straight to jail.
Yep.
It's not like you're hurting anybody. You're only hurting yourself. And God forbid you go get treatment. I think there was somewhere, God damn it, where was it? Somewhere in the Netherlands, that instead of sending people to prison, they were sending them to clinics to get help. They could get as much heroin as they want that was medically safe. It was administered cleanly by doctors and nurses, and they were monitored.
Mm-hmm.
Opioid deaths dwindled to near zero. There was less people on the street. People were getting jobs. And eventually the opioid crisis there dwindled to nearly nothing because people were actually getting legitimate help from medical professionals.
Yeah.
How was that not something we are looking into? Instead, we're focusing on banning the problem and sending more people to prison.
Yeah. They want...
because private prison is profitable.
Yes.
But that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah. We'll go on. We'll probably dive deeply on that later. But, I mean, it just goes to show how fucking deep the corruption is in politics and news media. All these fucking people try to hit that hot topic of their agenda. Like pharmaceuticals and tobacco and politicians are the only ones that have something to gain out of this.
Jesus, man.
You know what I mean? It's like the American people are the people that... I mean, because this is mostly an American problem. I mean, the UK...
Well, I mean, Europe isn't feeling it.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
It.
They're just like, yeah, man, if you want to vape, go for it. Just don't do it like in a building or whatever. That's like the only regulation they have. And they're just like, yeah, you'll be fine. And coming from the UK, because UK is usually first into banning shit that's actually bad for the people. Like aspartame, here it was legal for a while, and it was...
It's fucking horrible. It's still legal. It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, and
you.
it's been illegalized in the UK and the European Union for years and years. They're saying, yeah, it's cancerous, it's really bad. There's other alternatives that are safer. In the United States, was just like, wow, there's too many companies there that are relying on this, so we're just going to keep it around. Fuck it. The Americans, you know, and then they try to play the same card that we're playing. Well, it's like, well, it's your choice. If you want to drink Pepsi that has aspartame in it, then that's your choice. And if you die, you die. It's your choice. But they want to ban shit that's actually helping people.
Well, but the thing is, kids have direct access to this shit. You don't have to be 18 to go buy a Diet Pepsi.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can just go grab one off the shelf.
Yeah.
And that's arguably way more detrimental to your health than vaping is.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So, I mean, we're kind of getting off into the weeds with shit like that and the corruption. So I wanted to get into some more corruption.
Okay.
I got a story that I was reading, and it fucking blew my mind. You know, we were talking a little bit earlier about how, you know, the government takes away more and more of our rights all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And now people are just so numb to everything that they've become... They just don't give a shit. It's called security nihilism. Okay?
What is it again?
So, security nihilism.
Security
It's where
nihilism?
the government... Security nihilism. It's basically where...
Nihilism.
It's basically where you don't give a shit about the government taking away your privacy and your rights
okay.
essentially, to privacy, because it's more convenient. So you don't give a shit. Kind of like, you know, the Amazon Echo or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So I got this story. Basically, it talks about how this thing called Megaface was taking millions and millions of Flickr images and from other places too, and putting it in a database. And now, keep in mind, most of these kids were very young, so 5 to 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
In this database. This company, Megaface, is using these pictures in their database, which is huge, to calibrate companies' biometric algorithms.
So they're borrowing information of other people's face.
They're selling this information to these companies. They're selling their database of people's private pictures to calibrate biometric scanning for places like Google.
Of course. Well, because think about it, man. Like, there's always talk about Siri versus Google Assistant, right?
Right.
So everybody is usually in a pretty strong agreement that Google Assistant is better than Siri, because you got to understand that Google has a gigantic database of voice and recordings and whatnot that they can file through and flip through, so they can have a more accurate and more realistic sounding assistant, because they have, again, a humongous database. Because even if you're not using it, they still capture it.
They still listen.
And Siri doesn't have. I mean, I'm sure they do. I just know Siri doesn't have as much, because they don't pool all the information from other different sources like Google does.
The most disturbing thing about this was that, foreign countries could use it.
Yeah. China in particular.
China.
Well, it's because China has that actually. They have a facial recognition software for security. They implemented it in Hong Kong. That's what we were talking about last week.
Right. Well, and the thing that was even more disturbing than that was they were using little kids' pictures. They were pulling these images off of these photo web sharing things or whatever they're called, and they were using these little kids, because apparently little kids are much more difficult to identify than adults.
Yeah.
So that was extremely scary to me, that security nihilism has come this far, where it's like, well, they got millions and millions of photos of everybody in the world that has ever posted a picture, and they're just using it and selling it to companies so they can calibrate their biometric scanning, like Facebook and Google.
Yeah.
And they're just like, so it is what it is.
And I mean,
wow.
And that's the next step here, man. It is. It's the next step. They're going to be facial recognition shit, and they're going to say it's for security. All you do is scan your face when you go to board a plane, and then it's so much more convenient. And they're
Holy
just going to have a database.
Look at our phones.
Yeah. They're all already doing that, scanning your face.
That's how you unlock your phone.
Yeah.
That's how I get into my bank, with my facial scanning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm probably done. I'm dead. They're going to come for me.
They're going to map your face. They're going to rebuild you as a cyborg, copy of yourself. And they're going to kill you and harvest your organs.
No, it'll be like Cody said, and they'll just deep fake me and bribe me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that's coming. No, that's a deep fake, I swear. I wouldn't be surprised if Trump gets reelected and something comes out like that. He's gonna be like, it's deep faked, and then people are gonna be like, deep fake, we need to ban it. So I was gonna say I stumbled across this just to kind of end this vape thing, because we've talked about it for three straight episodes. I mean,
I know. If you I just wanted to get that info out there.
Oh, I know. So. This is part 3, man, and it's ridiculous. And I think we've kind of sent the message home now, to where you guys that are listening should know by now. If you're still listening, should know by now that this is not vaping's problem. It doesn't have anything to do with you or the children. It's big tobacco wanting to plant their flag.
This is very rich people.
Exactly. It's the rich people that run the country, because even if you're like, you guys are just conspiracy theorists, the sad part is, man, it's true.
It's fact.
It's true.
I just gave them several bits of factual evidence from reputable sources.
And it's not just us saying like, the government's coming out to get you. It's just there are rich people that have so much fucking power that they are completely disconnected to what is real life.
Care.
Yeah, they don't care.
They
don't care. They will say hot button words like "save the children" or the job market or whatever.
But you can't blame the layman. The how do I say this? Average American, for being a little freaked out. Holy shit. Yeah. This is a little scary. Several people have died. It's just like Ebola. When Ebola was here, it's a hot topic item. It's like, holy shit, a couple people died from Ebola. Mm-hmm. I think actually only 2 people died from it in the United States.
Yes.
And they were making a huge fucking issue about it.
Yes.
Like same year, West Nile, or same thing, West Nile virus. People were shitting their pants about West Nile virus.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those things. Election is coming up soon.
Yes.
And I've said it many times. Sorry about that. Election is coming up for governor. President's going to be coming around the corner next year. They have to have some hot ticket item that distracts you from bigger issues so they can sneak it under the radar and get crazy shit done while everybody else is focused on a fucking vaping ban.
Yes.
So now they're going to go over here and do some crazy shit.
Yeah, because...
So keep your eyes out. Keep your eyes out for something fucking crazy coming down the pipeline. And the vaping ban's just going to be the overstory that everybody is paying attention to.
Because there's millions and millions of people in this country that vape. Even people that don't vape regularly, they still have... some of them still have a stake in it, where they carry around a jewel when they go out drinking or whatever, you know? And because so many people are affected by this potential ban, it's a very hot button issue because people, you know, live by it. They make a living off of it. It has a lot of
exactly.
So it affects a lot of people. So it garners the most attention away from the real problems, like. And now they're trying to push for Trump's, what is it?
Impeachment.
God. He's meddling with Russian officials. And it's like, well, so do you.
Yeah, go fuck yourself.
All of you fucking do. And we deal with their elections too, man. It's just this big ring of rich fucks that have so much power and money. They're willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to get elected and to get more power and more money. And it's the same situation with tobacco companies, where tobacco companies had a bunch of money, and now they're slowly starting to lose all of their money, and they're flailing and trying to find a way to get that money back.
Well, yeah, and all the small businesses that have popped up because of vaping, and like you said, people making an actual living on this, they can go, fuck them.
Yeah.
They don't pay I guess they don't pay taxes.
Yeah, fuck them. You know, they don't have to. We don't want those businesses to be around because America doesn't like small businesses, man. I'm sorry, but they don't.
They
want corporations
to.
So the corporations can fund campaigns because small businesses don't fund campaigns or lobby.
Right. Well, it's not lucrative for the politicians.
Exactly.
It all just goes back to the politicians, and it's a sad state of it. Really is. It's a sad state because I want to be able to trust my government to do the right thing, and stand up for the greater good and all that jazz. But it's just like time after time, they are just disappointing.
Yeah, and then they'll peg the people that are like, "Oh, don't listen." Because I mean, what's that dude that has that gnarly, raspy voice? He's like InfoWars or whatever. What's that guy's name?
Oh, God bless.
Well, you know what?
Yeah.
He's like the frogs are gay and whatnot.
It's making the frogs gay.
Yeah, and I mean, some of the shit that he says is
Alex
just
something
outrageous.
Or other?
Alex something, yeah.
Alex
Jones.
Yeah,
so he says a lot of shit that's like just way out there, but then, the media...
Then you're like...
But some of the shit makes a lot of sense and is backed up. But the media will pin him as this fucking psychotic dude, and then Twitter bans him because he has a certain opinion, and people listen to it, man. And it's like, if people listen to it, let them fucking listen. Twitter is a platform, so even though I personally think he's kind of weird, but I mean, it doesn't make me any different than him because I'm spitting out shit. I mean, even though I've done research and stuff, and you've done research on this shit, and it all makes perfect sense. We've seen the facts, we've seen the stories. I wasn't there. I don't know if it's 110% true because I didn't experience it, but with the most knowledge that I have, I'm sure this stuff is true. It makes the most amount of sense. It's enough people saying it that I believe it's true. And if Alex Jones is like that way and he makes it's like, just let him listen. But the point of that was, they'll try to paint you if you're a conspiracy theorist, they'll try to paint you as a fucking psycho, and you're just a conspiracy theorist.
You're the guy. You're the guy
dumbass.
in the corner in the trench coat that's saying, the end is nigh and all that shit.
Yeah, and it's like, dude,
So-
I mean, but it's in a lot of cases, especially in this one, it is fucking true. The writing is on the wall. If you just look into it enough and don't just read headlines of news articles.
Actually, read the articles.
Read the
You'll
article.
find out. You'll see.
If you scroll down to maybe paragraph 3 or 4, the real story comes out.
Exactly.
You cannot judge I cannot judge a news story by its headline.
No, because most of them are so clickbaity these days that you're just like, there it is. I got my answer.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go on about you Google it really quick. You see the headline in the first couple, the first couple stories, and you're like, yep, see, right there.
You see the
I was
headline,
right.
you read the summary, and then there's an ad, and you don't scroll past that ad to actually read the rest of the story,
And you're done.
and that's it.
And you know what? I can't blame people because some of those articles are fucking long.
Oh,
I've
yeah.
sat on the toilet for an hour reading an article. That's where I get some of my best reading done.
I think all of us do.
But I mean, I don't know. I
Just don't buy into this hype bullshit. Because I mean, you were right, man. The election is here. They are right around the corner here. So they're trying to pull up hot button stories that affect the most amount of people to drive the most attention away from what's really going on. Just like the same thing with gun bans, the same thing with immigration. It's those hot button issues that affect the most amount of people that they're willing to listen to it and be like, oh, shit, and do exactly what we did and dive deep into it so we don't look up the real shit that's going on.
right.
It's like there's a lot of little things that we could change to make the country better, but I just don't
we
see it
don't
happening
because we're lazy.
well, politicians are assholes. That's why they don't give a shit about
for
you.
for sure. So if you guys get anything out of this, make sure you check out. I think it's hashtag I vape I vote on any social media. I'm sure you'll find it. But there's the I vape I vote thing that'll kind of give you some information on what's going on, maybe more than I had. But I definitely recommend checking that out. I vote, I vape.
So hashtag
Or I vape, I vote.
I vape, I vote. Yeah.
Yep, it's
Okay.
a big movement, and I think if you're passionate about vaping and making sure that the government toes the line, because essentially we run the government, the people run the government. The government doesn't run us, and that's exactly how it should be.
And they're trying to change that to where the government does run us by doing shit like this. So you got to make a stand.
I mean, even if it's something as stupid and as seemingly unimportant as vaping, just take a stance on. Take a stance on something.
Yeah. Don't let them walk all over you and let them ban everything that you enjoy and that has made your life better. Just to let them ban it so that they put you back into the same cage that you were in with cigarettes or whatever it may be.
Exactly.
We got to keep our choices.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm done talking about it. It makes
I know.
it makes me
it makes
kind
you
of
sick.
sad.
It does,
that this
man.
is
It's
this is
hard
the
to-
country we were born into. It fucking sucks.
Yeah, and we could. And the thing that is the most heartbreaking is that we know it could be so much better if there wasn't so much fucking corruption and money involved and power. And it's like if they would just take a step back, pull it back, if you will, and
Nice.
and look into this and actually see that there's more. Like the people are exactly what run this place. I mean, these are the people that are working and making the money for the jackasses upstairs making the decisions. That's not right.
No.
That's why I kind of applaud the UAW and doing what they did.
Yeah, I mean, I got some information on that too. It's been a really weird several months. The UAW is, I think they're still on strike.
No, they sealed it with GM, and now they're targeting Ford.
Oh, well, yeah, I know they said that they weren't going to work. They decided that they weren't going to go back to work until the deal was actually signed and ready to go. So they may be back to work. But
yeah, they're back to work now. They signed the deal. Yeah. Everything's done with General Motors. And then, again, like I said, I think Ford is next with their UAW thing. So, but
well, Ford better get good because that was crazy.
Yeah, that was rough, man. So I guess that's it for this episode, man. We'll keep it at that. We'll do another episode, so in case you don't want to listen to conspiracy
us rambling and bullshitting,
and try to send a message to you guys about what to do and how to handle this situation, and don't listen to all this media bullshit and politicians, and just don't trust them, man. I can't say it any easier than that. Just don't fucking trust these people, because they don't give a shit about you, and that's about it. Just don't believe it. So, and what was
inform yourself?
What was that thing again? The hashtag what?
Hashtag I vape, I vote.
Okay, hashtag I vape, I vote. Check that out. I mean, post pictures of your setup, man. Post pictures on your setup of Instagram and use that hashtag. Tag us in it on Instagram at Pull It Back Podcast and on Twitter at Pull It Back 1. Thank you guys for listening, and we will talk to you guys, I guess, on the next episode, which is coming out on the same day. So we'll talk to you then.
That's right. Love you. Bye.